Hello and welcome, I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. The UN's Palestinian Refugee Agency head says airdrops won't reverse the starvation in Gaza. Israel claims foreign nations can send supplies via airdrop, but the UNWRA chief Philip Lazzarini calls it insufficient and demands political will to ensure safe aid delivery. Fighting on the Thai-Cambodian border enters a third day with both sides claiming self-defence. More than 30 people have died and over 130,000 have been displaced in the worst conflict between the neighbours in 13 years. US President Donald Trump plays golf in Scotland under tight security on the first full day of his visit. Hundreds of protesters gathered near his Turnberry resort as his trip faces political and public scrutiny. At least 6 people, including law enforcement, were killed in a terrorist attack on a judicial building in southeast Iran. 3 gunmen were also reported dead in the incident. 5 people have been killed in overnight drone strikes between Russia and Ukraine. 3 died in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region, while 2 were killed in Russia's Rostov after a drone strike. Thousands rallied in Kuala Lumpur demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Protesters wearing black and carrying "Step Down Anwar" slogans gathered in Independence Square amid growing discontent over rising living costs and broken reform promises. Pope Leo met with Metropolitan Antony, a senior Russian Orthodox cleric, in an effort to ease church ties strained by the Ukraine invasion. The pontiff held an audience with Antony and 5 other high-profile clerics, according to the Vatican. Taiwan opposition lawmakers have survived a major recall election, thwarting a bid to oust 1/5 of parliament. All recall votes against lawmakers the KMT were rejected, according to live vote counts. Now this hour we start with Middle East diplomacy, where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced plans to move forward with a Gaza food airdrop. His office confirmed discussions with French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Merz. The plan will work with partners, including Jordan, to deliver essential aid and evacuate sick children needing medical care. Starmer emphasised the urgency of the humanitarian crisis, agreeing with Macron and Merz that robust ceasefire plans are crucial for lasting peace. This follows global outrage over rising starvation in Gaza. Aid has been restricted due to Israel's blockade amid the ongoing conflict with Hamas. We're now joined by our guest, Berzin Wagmar, who is at the Centre for Iranian Studies. He joins us live from London to discuss this further. Berzin, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. This is a new announcement by Israel that they're going to allow airdropped aid into the Gaza Strip. What do you think of this move by the Israeli government? What are going to be the benefits and also the setbacks to announcing something like this? Okay, we have lost Berzin there just for a second. Hopefully we get these technical issues sorted. We are covering the UK's call to airdrop aid into the Gaza Strip, something that is a new announcement by the Israeli government. There has been international condemnation for Israel's blockade of Gaza and the acts of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. However, Israel is now allowing aid to be dropped from the skies in the Gaza Strip. Some people have been critical of this plan for various reasons. However, the UK has announced plans to participate and to hopefully help the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. This comes as the humanitarian situation in Gaza intensifies, with starvation figures be reported on a daily basis. Okay, we will move on. Hopefully Berzim will join us in just a second. Okay, we move on now. Apologies for that. At least 9 people have been killed in a deadly attack on a courthouse in Iran's restive Sistan Baluchistan province. The Sunni terror group Jaish al-Adl claimed responsibility for the assault in Zaydan. 3 of the assailants died in the attack, while 22 others were injured. A toddler, a 60-year-old woman and several security personnel were among the dead. The attackers reportedly wore explosive vests and carried grenades. Jaish al-Adl says it targeted judges involved in death sentences against Bulaq citizens. The group threatened further violence against Iranian judicial staff. The region is home to the Sunni Bulaq minority, who say they face discrimination and marginalisation. Tehran blames armed groups in the region for ties to foreign states and cross-border insurgencies. We are currently getting information about this reported attack. Terrorist attack is what Iran are calling it, that has reportedly killed 9 people in the southeast province. We are currently consistently getting information on this developing situation, and we will bring that to you as soon as we can. There has been a group which have taken responsibility for this attack. The Sunni terror group, the Jaish al-Adl, they have claimed responsibility for the assault in Zaydan. 3 of the assailants reportedly died in the attack, while 22 others were injured, with 6 people dying. A toddler and a 60-year-old were reportedly among the dead, tragically. The attackers wore explosive vests, and carried grenades. The group says it targeted judges involved in the death sentences against certain Bulaq citizens. The group threatened further violence against Iranian judicial staff as well, as we know. The region is home to the Sunni Bulaq minority, who says they face discrimination and marginalisation. Tehran has blamed armed groups in the region for ties to the foreign states and cross-border insurgencies. We now move east. Taiwanese voters have rejected a bid to recall 24 lawmakers from the opposition Nationalist Party, or the KMT. The move was seen as an effort by the ruling DPP to shift power in Parliament, but preliminary results show no KMT lawmakers were removed. The DPP needed to oust at least 6 to take a majority. Another round of votes is set for August the 23rd. The recall efforts come amid sharp divisions over legislation, defence spending and ties with China. The KMT accused the DPP of political revenge. President Lai may now face strong opposition in Parliament ahead of next year's local elections. China has also weighed in, criticising the Lai administration for what it calls one-party rule. We're now joined by Dr. Bonnie Yuish Liao, who's an assistant professor of diplomacy and international relations at Tam Kang University in Taiwan. You join us live from Taipei. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Liao. Please tell us more about this ongoing situation in Taiwan. What does this mean for Taiwanese political stability, and obviously Chinese influence as well?
Okay, this recall campaign covered 32 cases and involved nearly 1/5 of all lawmakers in Taiwan. It's something we've never seen before in Taiwan's democratic history, and it matters for 3 main reasons. First, It shows stronger democracy and more active citizens. The recalls are meant to let people hold politicians accountable, but in the past, they were hard to do because of strict rules and low participation. And this time, no matter the results, it shows that more people care about politics and are using their rights between elections, not just on voting day. So it's a sign that democracy in Taiwan is getting stronger. And secondly, public pushback against certain political behavior. Most of the lawmakers targeted were from KMT and or its allies. Voters were upset about things like trying to block the budget or giving more power to the legislator. And this shows people are no longer just voting based on personality. They're watching how lawmakers behave and make decisions based on that. And thirdly, a way to protect democracy from China's influence. With China trying harder to influence Taiwan's politics and media, some voters used the recall to remove lawmakers they felt were too close to China. In this way, recalls became a tool, not just for local politics, but for defending Taiwan's democracy against outside threats.
Yes, and what can you tell us about the current president of Taiwan's popularity, his party's popularity, and also China's influence? Obviously, it's weighed in, criticising the Lai administration for what it calls one-party rule. What's your analysis of this?
Well, from the recall process and media discussion, it's clear that Taiwan's politics is becoming more deeply polarized. Well, the political identity matters more than party preference. People who support the recall are not only from one party, many support it because they disagree with lawmakers seen as pro-China or pro-KMT or against reform. So this type of polarization is different from what we see in like the States or Europe, where divisions are often about money or social values. In Taiwan, it's more about national identity, sovereignty, and security. And also media and information battles make things worse. China's influence through online information, extreme views on social media, and strong language in some pro-KMT media make both sides see each other as enemies. People rarely try to compromise, and often the message is, if you support that person, you don't love Taiwan. So this creates a strong moral and emotional divide. And also polarization pushes away moderate voters. With strong campaigns for and against the recalls, the political atmosphere becomes very, very tense. And many middle ground voters lose interest or avoid taking part. That's why we saw the result, which means the results mostly reflect how well each extreme side can mobilize their bases.
Yes, and Dr. Bonnie, how much do you think the KMT has been emboldened by surviving every recall bid? And where might they flex that strength first inside the legislature?
Well, even though this recall did not change the majority in the legislature, it still had very clear political governance effect. The lawmakers will become more careful. Even those who were not recalled started to speak, vote. They will to propose laws more cautiously, the ones from KMT or allies, and they will be more aware of public reactions, especially on sensitive issues like national security, military spending, and China relations from now on. So I think they will avoid saying or doing things that could be seen as extreme or unpopular. And but the moral authority of the legislature will be weakened when many lawmakers are seen by the public as unfit or untrustworthy. It hurts the image of the legislative yuan. This shift gives the executive branch, the president and the ministries, a little bit more power or influence and moving the center of politics away from the legislator. But it's also a chance for legal reform because the recall has made people more aware of the problem, like forced cabinet changes or lawmakers try to take too much power. So in the future, this could lead to change in like the constitution or laws to better control the legislator and prevent abuse of power.
Yes, Dr. Bonnie Yoshi Liao, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Pleasure to get your insight. We now move over to Southeast Asia, where former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has criticised Cambodia's leadership, calling his Cambodian counterpart untrustworthy. He insists that dialogue can only occur after military operations conclude, underscoring the importance of completing current military actions before negotiations begin. Tensions remain high as the border conflict persists. Let's have a look at what the former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra had to say on the issue.
ทางทหารต้องเดินให้จบยุทธการของทหารเสร็จแล้วค่อยคุยกันครับก็ไม่มีอะไรถ้าจบยุทธการทางทหารแล้วก็คุยได้ผมไม่คุยฮะไม่คุยไม่มีความจำเป็นเพราะว่าแกไม่อยู่กับร่องกับรอยครับไม่เขาต้องสำรวจตัวเองก่อนว่าเขาทำอะไรไป
Meanwhile, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is pushing forward with efforts to broker a ceasefire between Thailand and Cambodia. He emphasised his commitment to halting the ongoing cross-border fighting, which has stretched into its third day. Anwar is coordinating with both nations' foreign ministers and will personally engage if necessary. Listen in to the Malaysian Prime Minister.
Kedua-dua buat kenyataan. Kedua-dua Perdana Menteri Thailand dan Perdana Menteri Kemboja buat kenyataan dan menghubungi saya, ucapkan terima kasih atas ikhtiar itu. Walaupun setelah bersetuju, nampak masih di perbatasan ada tembak-menembak lagi. Jadi saya terus minta untuk Mahasan hubungi Kementerian Luar dan kalau boleh saya akan terus hubungi mereka. Sekurang-kurangnya hentikan dulu tembak-menembak ini dan teruskan menerusi.
We're now joined by our guest to discuss this in further detail. Frank Han Sheikh, he is an anchor and correspondent for Thai PBS, and he joins us live from Thailand now. Thank you very much for joining us, Frank. This statement coming from Thaksin Shinawatra, labelling things untrustworthy. What does this say about the current state of Thai and Cambodian diplomacy and its potential to bring an end to this conflict?
Right, as what you said, actually, Thaksin Shinawatra today is a very important day for Thaksin because it's his birthday, and right now he's in Ubon Ratchathani to visit all these people on the ground to show his empathy and sympathy for these people, as those people got affected by the conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia. And as what you just broadcast on the screen right now, Thaksin also talk about the relationship with Hun Sen family and relations with Cambodia now. And of course, as what we always monitoring the situation on the ground right now, his daughter, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, right now is the suspended Prime Minister of Thailand because of the leaked phone call with Hun Sen. And of course, each political analyst will really talk about this issue, that this links to the family feud between Hun Sen family and Thaksin Shinawatra's family. But what Thaksin said today on the ground is that this incident stems from Cambodia's disaffiliation with Thailand. We did nothing to provoke this. And he also said that, quote, I deny this is a conflict between two families. There was never any personal dispute. So actually Thaksin put this way as the national interest, national sovereignty, and do not link that with family feud there, because he doesn't want to take the things to be targeted by domestic politics and of course international relations too. So right now we still see that Thaksin wants the family to get away from the international politics here, the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. And right now, Thaksin say that actually Thailand's troops and Thailand's family can function well to deal with the situation right now. So actually, that's what I said. In all, Thaksin wants to get away from the international relations crisis. Right now, family issue is not on the page right now, and family and Thailand's interests should get away from each other, and the troops in Thailand and Cambodia will tackle and find a way out for that.
Frank, you referenced briefly there the leaked phone call between Peng Tontan and Han Sen. What's the sentiment towards the Thai government right now, the public sentiment, and also the feeling that the people have over this conflict with Cambodia?
Right now, the public sentiment in Thailand actually supports Thailand's government at this moment, as in, of course, we see that today is a very important and urgent meeting for UNSC, United Nations Security Council, to call both countries' officials and representatives to come to New York to talk about this conflict and how to alleviate the crisis between two countries here. And of course, Thailand's right now, Foreign Minister Maris Samyangphong just came back from New York and came to Thailand to do the public press here. Just say that actually Thailand's only fight back because of Cambodia's attack to Thailand's territory. And right now, we still see that conflicts at the border, at the land border in Emerald Temple, Ubon Ratchathani, Thani Sisike, and Surin provinces here. Still, we see still some skirmishes between two countries. And today, actually, in the early morning in Thailand, we've seen that conflict on sea in the maritime territory here. That's another dispute area that we might see more conflicts coming. We already see Thai Navy had some skirmishes on the sea with Cambodia side, and actually in Thailand's provinces in the eastern side, Chanthaburi and Tra already leveled, already imposed that maritime law here, martial law here, sorry, in Thailand. So that's why we see some conflicts on the ground here. And of course, as what I said, nationalism, the sentiment right now supporting the government to find a way to mediate and alleviate the crisis together, as what Thailand's foreign minister say that they want to see a way, they want to see a very formal dialogue there to really alleviate the crisis, to find a way out. But Cambodia here, on the other hand, of course, in the United Nations Security Council urgent meeting, also say that they want immediate ceasefire and unconditional ceasefire between two countries. So that will be the key to see how both countries can turn this conflict down. But the conflict's still there, still not winding down. Back to you.
Frank, Han, Si, thank you very much for your insight on that topic and joining here this hour. We now move over to Europe, where a Syrian delegation comprising of the Foreign Ministry and General Intelligence met in Paris today with the Israeli side at a meeting mediated by the United States, a Syrian diplomatic source told Syria's state-run media today. The diplomatic source said the meeting did not result in any final agreements, but they agreed to continue talks and evaluate steps aimed at maintaining stability in southern Syria. Reportedly, the Syrian delegation rejected any illegitimate foreign presence on Syrian territory and confirmed that both sides agreed to hold new meetings in the upcoming period to continue discussions and evaluation of steps meant to maintain stability in the south of Syria. We're now joined by Shruti Dasgupta, who's an international affairs expert. She joins us live from New Delhi. Shruti, thank you so much once again for joining us. If no deal is reached here between Syria and Israel, what practical stability steps could still emerge in southern Syria?
Greetings, Thomas. For Syria to get peace would be to control the gangs that are roaming the streets still and executing non-Sunni, and I'm being very, very specific here, non-Sunni people of Syria. They've attacked Christians, they've attacked Jews, they've attacked Druze, as well as they've attacked the Alawites. So for the Syrian regime to show that they are committed to protecting all kinds of minorities in their nation is the only way forward to ensuring peace in the country. This will, if they do not do so, they will not only face aggression from Israel. Soon the West will also have to start speaking up for the minorities that are being suppressed by the regime they themselves have placed and shaken hands with. So for peace, Syrian regime, the al-Shara/al-Julani regime will have to come up and step up and take the right negotiation tactics with all the armed gangs and tribal gangs that walk around in Syria and executing people just because they have an ex-Al-Qaeda as their interim head.
Shruti, Damascus has said that they're going to reject any, quote, illegitimate foreign presence. Whom are they targeting here? The US, Turkey, Iranian militias perhaps, or all of the above?
Well, they're basically, when they're saying that they're rejecting all of the above, they want to have their own independence or at least autonomy of their own peacekeeping stations. More likely, they are asking the Israelis to step back and than the Turkish forces, although al-Shara regime has gone ahead and asked Turkey to reinforce their army and as well as provide military help, and Erdogan has given the nod. So that statement might also be aimed towards Turkey, so that do not interfere and escalate the southern part of Syria into another war in the Middle East.
Yes, and Shruti, where do you think the Golan Heights issue is going to come into play in these relations?
Since 1960s, it has been, Golan Heights has been with Israel in its earlier campaigns in the Middle East. So, and they continue to maintain the presence there. So I don't think Syria, at least the current Syria, is in any way or form willing to be to put pressure on Israel. Israel is not going to vacate it. It has a larger plan at hand. And it feels that the Golan Heights is where a large part of the Druze population also finds its home. They would, this is non-negotiable for Israel. So they will not walk out, they will walk out of any deals if they say that give back Golan Heights, which was taken away many decades ago. Syria just needs to first control the goons in uniform that they have armed and supported as a regime. That will be the only thing that is of concern right now to the world.
Yes, Shruti Dasgupta, thank you so much, as always, for joining us on the programme. Let's now have a look at some updates from North America. Police have arrested 18-year-old John Fuentes hours after a deadly shooting inside a dorm room at the University of New Mexico. A 14-year-old boy is killed and a 19-year-old has been injured when gunfire broke out as a group of young people played video games in their room. Fuentes is taken into custody during a traffic stop and expected to face a murder charge. The university issues a shelter-in-place order, which is later lifted, though parts of Central Campus remain closed as the investigation continues. A Southwest Airlines plane suddenly dropped in elevation after takeoff from Hollywood Burbank Airport, forcing a rapid course correction to avoid a potential mid-air collision. Flight 1496 en route to Las Vegas plunged abruptly, lifting passengers out of their seats and injuring 2 flight attendants. Southwest said the crew responded to 2 onboard traffic alerts requiring both a climb and a descent to avoid other aircraft. The Federal Aviation Administration has launched an investigation stressing that maintaining safety in US airspace remains its top priority. The incident comes less after a week than a near miss raised concerns about air traffic safety. A partial system outage at the Canada Border Services Agency is causing major delays at the Canada-US border crossing between Windsor and Detroit. The outage is affecting commercial shipment processing at the busy Ambassador Bridge, which handles over 10,000 trucks daily. Shipping company Cross Border Pickups warned customers of delays, especially for packages manifested since July the 23rd, with high summer travel volume adding pressure. CBSA says efforts are underway to restore services and ease congestion at the crossing. Well, that's all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world. Thank you.